Welcome to Tech for Good with Bethnal Green Ventures. My name's Paul Miller, and we've got a slightly different episode this week because I'm very pleased to be joined today by my colleague at BGV, Yumi Tsoy. We're going to talk about all things to do with our Impact and Learning Report, which we published a couple of weeks ago. So, hi, Yumi.
Hi, Paul. How are you today?
I'm good. Right. First of all, tell us a bit about your role at BGV and maybe a bit about what you did before you came to work at BGV.
Yeah, sure. I did all sorts of things before coming to BGV. I worked in a startup called Futureland, which is an online learning platform. I dabbled in music video production, probably less interesting for this podcast. But most recently, before BGV, I worked in a place called The Bakery, and I oversaw research and strategy at the company. So I worked with large corporate clients like AXA, Procter & Gamble, HSBC, and tried to understand the various commercial and strategic challenges in the business and then connect them to startups and emerging technologies that could hopefully address them. The problems were very different. Sometimes they were improving efficiency in a checkout process, and sometimes they were delivering improved mental health outcomes. And I think over time, I just noticed that I was more drawn towards the social and environmental problems, which is how I came to BGV. And in my current role, yes, I'm the head of operations at BGV, and I do many things depending on the day. So I always find it hard to explain. But within the company, I look after our fund administration, our team, our impact. And I also do a lot of work with our founders, so supporting them through the program and our mentor network.
One of the important things you do is helping to collect the data and the insights and so on that go into our impact report, which we published a couple of weeks ago for last calendar year, wasn't it? That was the 2024 one. So tell us a bit about what role the impact report plays at BGV. I mean, why do we have one?
So there is one practical reason for why we have it. So we're a certified B Corp, so we have an obligation to publish an impact report, really to demonstrate the work that we're doing across governance, our team, workers, community, etc. But I think more importantly, we're a tech for good VC, so impact is at the core of what we do. So it's a good opportunity for us to be transparent about our impact, about what our portfolio is doing, and also hopefully to celebrate all that we've done during the year. So yeah, I think those are probably the main aims.
Absolutely. And I think we've been publishing impact reports for 6, maybe 7 years now. Was this one any different? What was new this time around?
Yeah, maybe just to give some context on what the usual impact report is. So the usual structure is probably quite traditional. So we usually have an overview of what our team has done during the year, the key events, timelines. We also publish our kind of portfolio level kind of performance data, and then do some detailed case studies on individual companies across different themes. And this year we do cover a lot of that, but we've actually changed the format a little bit. So we think it was really important to recognize the work of the broader community that we work with. So each chapter is focused on a particular stakeholder that we work with. So we have a chapter on investors, on founders, on the team, the community, and really each section shows kind of what work they're doing to scale impact in the UK.
Were there any sort of standout stats or stories in this year's impact report for you?
I think it's a very data-driven report, so it's hard to pick a few. But I think on reflection, it was quite amazing for me to see just the volume of work that our team has done to encourage founders to kind of apply for funding, to come to BGV to speak to us. I think we held close to 270 one-on-one kind of drop-in sessions with founders. We had 13 founder-facing events, 300 attendees, of whom about half were women. So I think just the volume of these activities speaks to the fact that I think our team really cares about engaging founders from all backgrounds. Yeah, I think those were quite impressive.
And were there any surprises, good, bad, and things that we're learning from when you pulled the data together this time around?
Yeah, I think for me it was quite interesting to see that the diversity in our deal flow stage kind of correlates quite closely to the diversity we then see in our investments. So to give an example, about 42% of founders who applied to BGV in 2024 were women. We then actually ended up investing in 43% in 2024. So it's a 1 percentage point difference. I don't know how that happened, but I thought that was really interesting, and I think it shows that there isn't like maybe as much of a pipeline issue as VCs like to say. Like there are lots of diverse founders. It's just maybe people aren't always backing them. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. We are not quite in line with the UK population, so there's still some work to do. But I thought it's important to be transparent about kind of where we're doing well and where we might need to improve, and then, yeah, hopefully we can kind of continue building on that next year.
Yeah, I mean, if we're honest, the global events mean there's been quite a backlash against some of this, diversity and inclusion stuff, and ESG as well. What do you think that means for?
I think it's a shame for everyone, not just for BGV, that there's been so much negative conversation about this. Because I feel going back on diversity in any shape or form means that the industry, BGV, and everyone just might be missing out on some really amazing, innovative founders, solutions, and therefore missing out on some amazing products and services that might actually improve societal outcomes. And as a VC, we're by definition looking for outliers. Like we're looking for founders and people who are different, who have unique insights. I think it's unfortunate this conversation is happening, but I think for BGV, it's an opportunity to double down on kind of the vision and what we're doing, and to continue kind of tapping into like a broader talent pool.
Based on this year's findings, where do you think Tech for Good is heading next? Were there any, I guess, weak signals, they sometimes get called, don't they? Things that have popped up this time that you think might be more important and bigger for in the future?
I think it's kind of similar to the point I made about the pipeline and the diversity problem. Like I think our data shows that there are lots and lots of founders, and I hope the report kind of dispels the myth that there aren't any. I hope that this also means that there will be more founders like seeking investment, more investors trying to encourage them to apply for their accelerator programs, provide them with support. So I hope there will be more diversity.
Yeah. So the numbers they go up. It seems like it.
I hope so. Yeah.
Final question: if you could bust one myth about Tech for Good investing or impact investing, maybe a bit more generally, what would it be?
I think there's a very common kind of conception of like what a good founder or a good founding team is, and that's usually, to be frank, two young men from elite universities, from particular backgrounds, and I just don't think that's the case. I think we've seen some amazing founders who haven't had any previous founding experience, but who really understand the problem that they are trying to address. So people with lived experience, people who have either learned about the problem through their work, through their personal lives, through kind of research or any other means. Like I think there is no one type of founder that can kind of succeed and do well.
That's great. Okay, well, thank you very, very much, Yumi. The report is available at bgvimpactreport.com. If you have suggestions for guests or topics we should be covering on Tech for Good, do get in touch. And if you're thinking of starting a Tech for Good venture and looking for investment, don't forget to check out bethnalgreenventures.com to see whether we might be able to help. That's it for this week. Thanks for listening and goodbye.